This is Mina Castle. This is where our ancestors were brought. Wow. Look at that up there.
After 10 minutes time, the tour will start.
The Portuguese built this.
He didn't come with it, but when he saw me, he said, that's what I did.
Male slave dungeon and female slave dungeons. Can we take photographs in here? We can, right? I didn't see anything saying that we couldn't.
Starts with a tour. We will have a very, very short history about the castle, very short one. When we are done, then we start with the walking tour. Now, please, this is Saint George's Castle with the popular name Mina Castle because it is located in Mina. In the year 1482, the Portuguese built it. But the thing is, way back 1471, the Portuguese started coming down here. As they came, they were trading with our locals, and that was the barter trade, exchanging goods for goods. The Portuguese here were giving the locals guns, gunpowder, tobacco, liquor, and other items. And interestingly, our locals here will exchange them with gold. The gold was so much, and this gave the Portuguese a mindset that the whole land we have here is full of gold. So they named the area Mina, and that means the gold mine. But this was corrupted or mispronounced to be Elmina, and that has come to stay. Edina is another name for the town, but that is also a Portuguese word. The actual word is aldeia, and that means village in Portuguese language. This was also corrupted to be Edina, but this should not tell us that Elmina never had a name at all before the arrival of the Portuguese. Elmina's traditional name is Anomansa, and I want us to pronounce it Anomansa.
Anomansa.
It's a Ghanaian word. That means Inswa Enuma Onsa, inexhaustible water. The more you drink, more is coming up. And this water we are talking about here, it is this lagoon just below the main bridge over there, where we have the boats and the canoes. In the course of the barter trade, there was that need for the Portuguese to have a permanent structure to keep their goods. So their leader, by name Captain Don Diego de Azambuja, he contacted our king Nana Kwamina Ansata first, and he gave them that permission to build a castle. In those years, all the rooms we have down there, we'll get there very soon, they were all warehouses or storerooms. They kept their incoming goods, the clothes, the mirrors, the schnapps, and the outgoing ones are the gold and ivories. However, around the year 1503, that was in the early 16th century, when the slave trade started. All those warehouses we have down there were now converted to be slave dungeons. That's where they put the enslaved Africans. And at a point in time, there were 1,000 captives here, 600 men and 400 women. I want us to see how they got some of them here. The Europeans will capture some on their own, and this was forced capture. For example, you may send your daughter to buy something in the streets. By the time you realize somebody has stolen your daughter, and you don't know where she was. Now, some of the Europeans also had a link or collaboration with some of the Africans. These guys were slave raiders. Slave raiders. And this is what they do. Sometimes they can get to some village somewhere and set the village on fire. With guns and other dangerous weapons, they hide in the bush. So while people are running for their lives, they capture them, especially the women and the children. But if we are to know of the biggest way by which they had a lot of them here, then this was through the effects of inter-tribal wars. In Ghana right now, there are many ethnic groups or tribes, but no matter our difference, we all see ourselves as one people. But in those years, that was not so, because normally there were wars among the tribes. So for example, if tribe A defeats tribe B, most of the tribe B people were captured. Most of these people who were brought here were victims of wars. Victims of wars. There were also cases of deception or tricks. For example, a ship captain can tell a chief that, hey, we're having some party on the ship. So the chief should bring some of his people from the palace on board the ship. Let's have some entertainment. After the party, go back to your palace. That's a good idea. The chief gets them on board the ship and they get them heavily drunk and they sell them out. Deception. That is what happened. In the year 1637, the Dutch fought the Portuguese in this castle, defeated them, and they took charge of the whole castle. And in the year 1872, the Dutch transferred the castle to the British. There were no fights. The Portuguese lived in this castle for 155 years. The Dutch stayed here for 235 years. And the British were here for 85 years until the year 1957, when Ghana had the independence. And as we said right now, Mina Castle is 541 years old, and we are still counting. I want to say something small about this diagram. At first, the sea was close to the castle, but right now it has receded or gone backwards. Very soon, we will come up somewhere here. You will see that at the back of the castle, you will see some of these structures. Please, these are the remains of the wharf or jetty. This is where bigger ships were anchoring or docking. Somewhere here is the door of no return. There were smaller canoes here that would convey the captives from the door of no return and bring them to the bigger ships. But they packed them in and they were taken away to places like America and the Caribbean islands, like Jamaica and Haiti. This structure we have here is Jago Fort. I don't know if you saw it up there. You'll see very soon. The Dutch built it. They put soldiers inside to watch over the castle for security. And a lot of all these houses we have here, they are stone houses. Stone houses built by the European merchants. And very soon, we will know what happened to most of these houses. Can you guys someone have a question or contribution so far? Before we
Who actually built the castle?
Good question. So, in terms of the technicalities, it comes with the engineers, plumbers, those stuff. They came with their own experts. When it comes to fetching water, sand, those things, they use African labor.
So physically, so as far as so they built it on their own, but the Ghanaians just assisted with supplies as far as moving supplies.
But they came with most of the items were brought from Europe, with the exception of water, sand, stone, yes. Most of the items are from Europe. Yes.
It was built by Europeans.
So as I was saying, when it comes to the technicalities, like the engineers, plumbers, carpenters, they came with their own experts. And coming to fetching water, those things, they use African labor.
Okay. So as far as putting the walls together,
That is it.
that was African labor?
That is it.
Okay, that was fun.
Yes, my brother.
So the Portuguese had this area first, right? So when they had this area, what were some of the things that happened in the surrounding area as far as the town? Like, did they have African labor going around in the town, or what were some of the things that happened in Mina outside of the castle? As far as, did they run things, or did they have things established a certain way?
Okay, so what he's trying to say is that when the Portuguese were here, what was happening in town? How was the town like? In terms of maybe
Government,
administration,
local government, right.
local government, how was it? Or was it the chiefs that were in charge? Did we have something like the governor was still in charge of the town, or what?
So basically, chiefs were in charge, and as you came in and saw the town like that, in those years it was not like that. But Elmina was just in front of the castle, stretching backwards. All those areas there was a lot of bush. But right now things have developed.
Right.
But most of the things the chiefs were in charge of.
The
But
town
I'm
was
asking,
so
like,
big.
while they were having the slave dungeons, were people being enslaved and sent to work outside of the castle? Or
Like people sent were the captives sent outside to go and work in town.
Right, good question. It is possible. Sometimes based on your physical structure, you have the strength, but maybe on the supervision also.
Right. So
Yes.
I guess the ultimate question is, they were not free outside of the castle. It wasn't like there was some type of European overhead
In
out
town?
In town.
No, there was no. The Europeans that were here, they only controlled what happened
In
in
the
the
castle.
castle. They don't control anything that happens outside. The chief and his elders and the town people were there.
And the chiefs, but they allowed what happened in here to happen.
Yeah, that's
No, it's like, you see, at that time, the time that slavery started, sorry if I'm
Yeah,
here.
I love that.
Thank you. The time that slavery started, the Europeans have sort of grounded themselves here.
Right.
People know their sort of weaponry that they had.
So they couldn't-
There's no way you could have fought them
Right.
not to hold slaves.
By the time
No
they
way.
started doing it.
By the time you realize they will even argue. They will argue to the captives. Yes.
So
And then
it's-
also people outside didn't know what was going on here.
Okay.
Oh,
Which
Do you get
is
it?
which, and please
Human
correct,
trafficking.
which is the whole, that was the point, part of the point of the year of return. It was an apology, first of all, they did not, for years, they did not know
What was
what the
happening
white man
with
was
the
doing
people.
to us.
Yes, they didn't know.
Slavery, when the tribes enslaved each other, they didn't do the things that the white man was doing
Right.
to our ancestors. So they didn't, and of course, it's not like they had cell phones.
Yeah, no, of
So
course.
communication was.
Yeah, of course. I was
Yeah.
just trying to get a better
Yeah, but-
understanding of what was
yeah,
going on.
but so-
There's a book that I would like each and every one of you to get, Indigenous Slavery in Africa. And you see the difference between what we call slavery and what they did as slavery.
And so they thought, so they were thinking that the white man was doing what they were doing to us.
Because our
when they
captives were free,
enslaved.
were
They
almost
free,
free.
Yeah.
They were free, they could marry, they were given lands to cultivate, to produce
Yeah.
their own farm, and
Yeah.
I mean, they were free, but only that you work for your master.
It was more like indentured servitude, not
That's it.
slavery.
You could work, you are working for your master, you work for yourself. But with this one, no.
No.
You work for your master and you are the property of your master.
Yeah. Which is what, so if you all did see the movie, The Woman, is it Woman King or whatever?
Yeah, that
Yes.
movie's
They
not
kind of
historically
tried to,
accurate.
no, it's not accurate, none of them are really
Thank
accurate,
you.
but it is, but pieces of it are, and so, like, what it showed where it was like, they came back like, wait a minute, you they're in shackles, they were doing things to us, even prior to us getting on the ships, and they were like, wait, this isn't what we thought, this isn't, they're just supposed to go and work for you, yeah, we're not trying to have you, but they started treating them even wrong here, so it just was a lack of, they didn't know,
Yes.
our people here didn't know, so, anyhow.
I wanted to add something to what this. And what I was saying, they took advantage of our disunity
Right.
during that
Take
time of the
advantage
year.
of it.
Because up to now, I do not understand how come somebody will bring in guns in exchange for something precious. But we don't need guns. So they bring it in, we use it to fight among our own self. At the end of the day, they benefits.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is.
And then they let us do their job.
Mhm.
And then for the Dutch, when they came in, what was the main reason for the Dutch trying to fighting the Portuguese in here to take over?
Okay, one thing was the Portuguese who were here at first. They never wanted other outside countries also come down to Elmina and engage in the gold trade with local people. But when the Portuguese were here, they had a lot of cannon at all these places, pointing toward the sea. With the sea as a competitor, they find in the years 1596 and 1625, the Dutch tried to enter Elmina, but they were not successful. But the Portuguese fought them. However, in the year 1637, the Dutch tried for the very third time. This time they succeeded. And this is what happened. During that year, some of the locals in Elmina helped the Dutch to carry some of these cannon to hide on top of Jago Hill. The Portuguese who were in the castle had no idea there were cannon up here. By the way, in those years, this was called deep bush. The Portuguese had no idea there were guns up
Where
here.
it was coming.
All their concentration was on the sea. So to them, while they were thinking they were winning the battle against the Dutch for the very third time,
Someone was sneaking from behind.
this time the Dutch on top of the hill started firing the castle. So in that year, the Dutch fought the Portuguese, first from the sea, then from the land. The Portuguese could not withstand, so they surrendered. That's how come the Dutch occupied the castle. And when the Dutch took charge, they saw that if it was through this hill, they have been able to drive away the Portuguese, somebody can do the same thing to them. So they put up a building up here, put soldiers inside to watch over the castle for security. So basically,
Okay, so like the question is what? Thank you. Like the question is that why did they get involved?
Well, yeah,
They,
pretty much
yes,
answered
they
my
knew
question.
what was going on.
Right.
And instead of them wasting time to build, let's rather take
They just
over.
took it over. Yeah, no, he
Yeah.
answered my question
That's it.
perfectly. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
welcome. Please, let's continue now.
My neck is hurting.
Bricks. All the red bricks were brought from Portugal. Yellow bricks from Holland. In those years, these bricks, they keep them in their ships to serve as a ballast. They give the ships extra weight for stability, balance on the sea. And when they come down here, that's what they used to raise up the building. And when they are leaving, they take the gold, the captives, and other precious items
As
as
ballast.
weights for balance when they are leaving. Great. This structure we see at the center here, this is the Portuguese church, first Roman Catholic church in this country. And you see, in the whole world, every chapel has a symbol. There was a Roman Catholic tower on top of the church. When the Dutch came, they were not Catholics. The Dutch took away the Catholic tower and they divided the church into two. They used the upper hall as junior soldiers' mess. Their soldiers were drinking and eating up here, and they used the hall below as a marketplace. That was where they were buying and selling the captives. When the British came in here, they converted the two halls to be classrooms for their policemen who were trained here. But as we stand right now, that is a museum. So this structure has gone through four phases: chapel, dining hall, marketplace, classroom, and now a museum. Initially, during the barter trade, all these rooms we have at the ground floor here were warehouses or storerooms. They put their clothes, schnapps, mirrors, and other items down here. However, around the year 1503, when the slave trade started, this is where they put the enslaved African men. These are the male slave gangs. All the men were at the ground floor. Please, on this first floor were rooms for soldiers, traders and missionaries. First floor. The second floor up there for deputy governor, and the very last floor up for governor himself. So in this castle, your position will tell you where you have to live, the higher you are. So captives down here, soldiers, traders, missionaries, the governor up. Please, you see that 4-square structure up there? That 4-square structure there? Great. Please, let's shift in here. Yes, sir.
May I please ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Would you, for the sake of this, tell us again the red brick, the yellow brick, and where they originated from?
Okay, so these red bricks from Portugal and the yellow bricks from Holland. Initially, they put them in their ships to serve as a ballast. It gave the ships extra weight for stability, balance on the sea. But when they come down here, that's what they used to raise up the building. As they leave, they take the gold, the captives, and the other precious items as weight for balance. So basically that is that. Now please, let's shift here and have a look here. Other 4-square structure there, please, they are watch towers. Watch towers added by the Dutch. When the Dutch came here, they put soldiers on top of them to watch over the castle for security. But when the British got in here, the British converted the rooms below them to be prisons. In that prison, they kept a popular Asante king by name Nana Prempeh I. He resisted British rule. He was captured and sent over there. In the other prison, they put a popular Asante queen mother by name Ja Asantewa. She was a warrior. When she was 60 years old, she led a fight against the British for the protection of the Asante Kingdom golden stool. Please, this golden stool, it is believed to be the soul of the whole Asante Kingdom. And it is believed that it was not handmade, in the sense that one of the Asante traditional priests by name Okonfo Anoche, in the course of his traditional dancing, he went into another realm and conjured the golden stool from the sky. So, as we stand right now, we still have it at the Menchia Palace in Kumasi. Because of what she did, she was captured and brought here. All of them were taken into exile in faraway Seychelles Islands. Seychelles Islands. But later, Nana Prempeh was brought back to Ghana and made a king again in Kumasi. But for the queen mother, she died in Seychelles. Later, they brought her body back to Ghana and took her to Ejiso, her hometown, where she was reburied. So that is Nana Prempeh's hall and Queen Mother Yaa Asantewa's hall over there. Please, the wall there with the metal on top, please, we have the same wall here. And some around the castle. These are supporting walls, buttresses added by the Dutch to support the wall so that the castle will not collapse. And the metals on top was fixed by the British. In 1948, the British used this castle as a police training school. So every day they have policemen will run over the metal. They go up and they come down, up and down for exercise of the muscles. So that was that. In the course of the tour also, you will observe a lot of all these concrete or cement and electrical wirings around the castle. All this concrete we have here, they were all not here. Mina Castle has been used for a lot of purposes. They've used this castle as a police training school, a district assembly, educational office, secondary school, district court, and other purposes until the year 1979, when everything was stopped and the castle elevated to be a World Heritage Monument or a tourist place. All these concrete were not here. There were all these sedimentary rock and the bricks all around. These concretes have been done to preserve, protect the castle. They were not here. Please, let's come here.
That's a cannonball.
That's a cannonball.
What is taking them so long? Daylight. There we go. And this is the women's slave quarters, the female slave quarters.
That's where we are now. Okay, now, there's the inner courtyard. Initially, during the barter trade, all these rooms you see down here, they were all warehouses or storerooms. They kept their clothes, schnapps, mirrors, and other items down here. However, when the slave trade started, this is where they put the enslaved African women. These are the female slave dungeons. Please, let's check this dungeon here. Please kindly stand for me. This female dungeon took the largest number of enslaved African women. Almost 150 female captives were lying on this bed floor just like that. There were two receptacles or containers here. They put one container at the corner here, and another was placed at the far end corner there. Now this is what happens. If you want to go to the toilet, you get up and you reverse it. You want to vomit or urinate, you use those containers over there. But the challenge was when we look at the health troubles, it was so bad. Some of them were so weak and could not get up from where they were to use those containers to ease themselves. So right now, the weak ones, they were practically going to toilet on the floor, urinate on the floor, vomit on the floor. And when you have their menses, they have all their menstrual blood scattered all over the floor, mixed up with the toilet, vomit and everything. And they were still sleeping inside. And in fact, we can never imagine at all that kind of heat and the bad smell that was coming from those slave dungeons. You see, in our various homes, our washrooms, if you don't clean the place for some time, there will be some smell. I come to imagine toilet, urine, vomit, and all those stuff with human beings sleeping in them. That was very terrible. Please, apart from this space that air came through for them to breathe in, please, let's come in this way. However, this gate was closed. Here was closed. Now, please, let's come in here. Air also came through this space for them to breathe in. Now we shift our focus to this square hole. This hole we have here was another source of air for them. But the challenge was this hole was connected to the room, to this room. This is magazine. They kept guns and gunpowder inside. So anytime there was a leakage, all the gunpowder toxic fumes will rush in here and pollute the air. Already they were sleeping in their toilets, and the toxic fumes coming in, it wasn't the matter. Many died. The pick your body up and dump into the sea. Now, the number of months a captive will spend here, this will depend on the availability of a ship to take that captive away. And normally they were here for 3 months. In the dungeons also, they were given food to eat. But the thing was, some of the captives, they were just tired of the system. They just wanted to die and leave, so some refused to eat. Some of these fruits and flowers here were brought in by visitors to pay respects. Biggest female slave dungeon in this castle. Please, let's see what happened outside this dungeon.
How often do you make these tours?
I'm here as a volunteer guide almost every day.
How does it affect your heart?
It's a fact you have to manage. Yes, you have to manage. There should be someone here to tell the history also.
Yes.
But you have to manage. Sometimes it's someone,
Yeah.
but you have to manage.
This is our, these are,
This is Portuguese water reservoir. Please, do you all see this pipes here? Did you see the black pipe over here?
Yeah.
When the Portuguese were here, some of these pipes, they channel them along the roof. So as it rains, rainwater will pass through and enter here. What we have here is not connected to the sea. It is harvested rainwater. Some call it sweet water or fresh water. In the year 1637, the Dutch fought the Portuguese here and took charge of the whole castle. When the Dutch came, they thought the Portuguese had poisoned this water. The Dutch never used the water. They dug out the rainwater. As you go on with the tour, I'll show you Dutch water. The soldiers who were here, the traders and the governors, they were raping the women because they don't come their wives. And this castle, if a governor wants to sleep with a woman, he stays up here. Come have a look up there. That was the governor's balcony. He stays up there and gives command to the soldiers to open all the gates for all the female captives to come and line up here. While they were here, he staying up there will now look through and choose the woman wanted to rape. After the selection, they fetch water here and clean them up because for the number of months they were inside, you cannot get a chance to brush your own teeth to take your bath. And some of the women who were chosen, they were menstruating, but still that was governor's choice. They clean you up and they take you to the governor's bedroom. We are going to see where they passed. We'll be back to continue. No, please. They fetch water here and clean them up before they take it.
Potentially poison water.
Yeah, they thought the water wasn't poison, so
No.
it wasn't poison, but they thought
They
it was
thought it was
poison.
poison.
And so they figured they would just use them on
Good
the black
enough
people.
to wash someone, but not prevent the drug.
That's so wicked.
The mind mentality.
Please, when we are, the steps we see, this is private access to the governor's bedroom. All the female captives who were selected, this was the past. And there is a secret door up there. It's a trap door. They pull it up. The woman walks through, enters bedroom, and they close it. As you all go up, I will show you the secret door. After raping them, they brought them back into the dungeons still as captives. And in fact, because of the rape cases, some of the women got pregnant. And with their situation, they could not live in the dungeons. One thing was the European traders who came here. Some of them built stone houses outside the castle. As you go up, I'll show you some of them. They send these pregnant ones there to give birth. When they give birth and the child is 4 years, they bring the children back here and educate them. But in Ghana here, most of our formal education started from the castle schools before they moved them out. And apart from this, in Africa here in general, sometimes you will see some of our brothers and sisters. If you look at the skin color, it's very light. That's a light color skin. And apart from this, there are some European names on the coastland. You may hear a name like Heidi Cooper, Bart Blanche, Deport, Velas, Viola, Vroom, Van Dyke, Van der Poel, Da Costa, Da Silva. We have Wilberforce, Peterson, Hutchison, Johnson, Blanson, Robertson, Fryson, in fact, all the other saints. Yeah, the sons are plenty. Williamson, Erickson, all of them. But please, one thing was when the Europeans came here, some of them, they had the challenge with the pronunciation of some of the African names. For example, in Ghana here, twins go by the name Ata with the spelling A-T-T-A, but they pronounce it Alpha with the spelling A-R-T-H-U-R. That has come to stay. And a name like Taylor, it is from the Ghanaian name Tewia.
Tewia.
T-A-W-I-A-H. T-A-W-I-A-H. Tewia, that's the name we give just after twins. But this was corrupted to Taylor. And that has come to stay. And just a few months ago, I heard of another name, Appleton. And I learned that's in Jamaica. But you see, it was not all the female captives who were chosen here, who walked up to the bedroom. Some of them, no matter what you do to her, she will never step here, no matter what. And they were punished for refusing governor's command. Let's see what happened to them.
I like how you say that, because you know they're funny. Not only like that.
Please. This ball we have here is a cannon ball. 8 of these balls were here with chains here fixed to their feet. When you are here, no water to drink, no food to eat. Rain or shine, day or night, they were here in chains. And this treatment was given to them so that the other female captives inside, as they see this, they become afraid never to disobey governor. This cannonball we have here, it weighs 25 kilograms. You cannot run away. And you can imagine during the daytime, the scorching sun, and in the night, the mosquito bites. That was very serious. Now please, one thing is visitors who come here, based on their spirituality level, sometimes they see certain things you can't see. And one thing is, as we do the tour, sometimes when you start, others are made to join you. This happened to one of the guides here. He was at this point and a lady was asked to join. When the lady came and she saw the ball, she screamed and ran away. He was like, why did you run? And she was like, when she came, she saw that a woman has been tied to the ball, screaming and drenching in sweat that she could not withstand it. So I had to run back. That was very serious. Please, let's see what happened in this dungeon. Please. We are still at the female dungeon. We observe these clothes and chains over here. On July 2015, an exhibition was held in Mina Castle with the title, The Return of the Slaves. The Return of the Slaves. About 60 people from Ghana here, Nigeria, UK, US, DR Congo, they came to sleep here for 12 hours. From 6 in the evening to the following morning, they were here. They used all these clothes to cover their waist and the chains for their arms and feet. In fact, people from many countries came down here to observe it. 12 hours in the slave dungeon, the return of the slaves. But all these items we have here, they are not original, only for the exhibition, 2015. And during the program, they put kerosene in this and let's match for lights. And during the slavery time, some of them were partially blind, because almost every time they were living in darkness. There are some metals over here. Please. These are some of the original iron bars. At first, these bars were over here. And because of the rusting, many are destroyed. So they have replaced them with these new ones. These are the original iron bars. In the next 2 minutes, I'll take a photo around and we continue. In the next 2 minutes. Please, where we have the wood, we have this drainage stretching from here into the room of no return. In those years, this drainage was not here. I made mention that when the police were here, they channeled those pipes on the roof. So when it rains, we don't try to get into the reservoir. But as we stand right now, that reservoir is not used. So they have done this. When it rains, we want to pass through and get outside the castle. When the ships arrived, all the female captives, that is where they passed. That's the female slave exits. But in those years, all these iron rods we have here, they were not there. They have fixed them here to avoid accidents. The female slave exits. We are going to see where the men too were used. Please, let's continue.
Those are some steep steps to be chained and forced to walk.
Your first time in Ghana here?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. California. Yeah, I did a full over 24 hours to get here. Yeah. Very emotional. I can't look at my friend because then I'm going to start crying. So, couldn't imagine what our ancestors went through. I probably would have been one that jumped off the ship. I'm just, But if they hadn't, then we wouldn't be here. So, they went through a lot.
Please, we continue. Please, where we are, whenever the ships arrived, all the men and chimneys, this is where the men will pass and enter into the room of no return. This is the male transit dungeon. Nobody slept here. It's a passing place. Now please, if you have some inscription or writing down here, It reads slave exit to waiting boats. Slave exit to waiting boat. Meaning, anytime you step in, there is a waiting boat for you. All right. Now we are coming down here. Mind your step. Put on your phone torchlight. One step down. I want to show you something. One step down. Mind your head.
I like to get your home.
I'm right behind you.
One step down.
One step down.
Yes.
Oops. Yep. Watch my head.
One step down.
I do that every day.
See?
So this is where the water would come.
Yes. Alright, so the men, this is what the men will pass and enter into the room of no return. This is the female slave exit. Please confess, this was a staircase, steps. We are going to see the room of no return. You mind your steps and you mind your head, please.
Wait, so the women came down here?
Yeah, this is what the women
The
passed.
men came through here.
But please, at first it was a staircase.
It was a
So
staircase.
the women here, the men this way, and all the way to the room of no return. Mind your head, please.
That's what they do. Maybe you do that.
That's crazy.
And this is to the sea.
Absolutely crazy.
Please, I asked you to bend low because if you don't do that, you're going to hit your head. Many of the captives accidentally hit, but they had no idea this structure was here. And when you hit on our it's so painful. We are in the room of no return. Please, this is the door of no return. All the captives walk through. All the captives walk through this door. But in those years, the sea was closed or high up here. But it had proceeded on backwards. There were small boats or canoes that were brought here, and there were steps down there. The captives in chains would go down to the small boats, and they take them to the wharf. I will show you. That was where big ships were anchoring. They took them there, they arranged them in, and they were taken away to places like America and the Caribbean islands. That was Jamaica, Haiti, Bahamas, and so on. So please, it is throughout this door and other reasons that explains why we have Africans scattered all around the world. It's one of the reasons. We can observe that the size of the door is very small. This must not tell us that some of the captives did not have weights, but because of the health problems in the dungeons, people sleep in their own toilet, many go sleep or lean that they can walk through the door very easily. But you know, there are other people too that no matter what happens to them, still they will maintain their weight. But that was the only way out. So whichever way you have to walk through, you must walk through.
The door of no return.
That is it. Now please, the wreaths of flowers we have at the back here were brought in by visitors to pay respects. Those schnapps and drinks here, some visitors brought them to pour libation or say praise to the ancestors and ask for their blessings. That's why we have them here. Room of no return and the door of no return. Take a photo of the door you can, and we walk out. And please, as we get out, you mind your head.
No hope for you. You go in here, no light of day for you at all.
Please, we are here.
Excuse me.
Please, can you all see the writing well? What we have here is an epitaph. This is written in old Dutch language. So remember this Dutch I think Governor Van Tex. Van Tex was from Zeeland, a province in Holland. Governor Tex, he was the last Director General of the Dutch West Indies Company. This governor, he came here on 16 January 1758 and he died on 12 March. Only 3 months, January to March 1758. Governor Tex died at the age of 41. Died of malaria. They buried the man here. Malaria. While he was here as a governor, there was a Dutch priest living in this castle. And look at the name of the priest. A. Andres from Fiery, a village in Zeeland in Holland. He wrote this short tribute for Governor Tex. He was describing the man as very honest and God-fearing. So it is only the priest, A. Andres, who can explain to us why this man was God-fearing. When we look at the troubles of the captives in the dungeons, Governor Tex, God-fearing. Please, we are going to compare these two cells here. First, we enter the cell.
Well, one quick question. Which was it, the Dutch or the Portuguese that used this to train?
The British.
The British.
Yes, please. Thank you. We enter. We compare the two. Please, we are in the European soldiers' cell for the stubborn soldiers. Some left this castle no permission, others got drunk. They were brought here for misbehavior. But here nobody died. There was fresh air all over the place.
Sure, from here.
Nobody died in the cell. Let's see the other cell.
Okay, understood. What did he say?
Misbehaving soldiers. I'm assuming somebody died in here because of the skull and crossbones.
This is for the more of us.
No air in here.
You can tell, no consideration. Not that lit type of consideration. More light.
Wow. Pitch black in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like you to pull the light out.
Okay.
My second, yes, thank you. Please, we are in the condemned cell of the enslaved African men who were fighting for their freedom in the dungeons. Anybody brought here died. He died because of heat. Heat, no water, no food. By 3 days you are gone. They pick your body up and dump you into the sea. Condemned cell. Just a second. Please, I would like you to shift this way for me. I want to show you something. Please. Yes. All right. Please, some historians are of the view that when the male captives were here, some of them, out of pain and frustration, they used some of their fingernails to scratch some of these areas, and they just gave up the ghost. Some of all the markings we have over here. Condemned cell.
Are you serious?
Yep.
We walk outside.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I might have this picture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, please, let's continue up here. Please, let's come up.
Look at how thick these steps are.
We got this practice in Everybody should be well trained.
Whew.
What's the name of that? Roman.
Roman.
Roman and John. I mean Roman and Ron.
John. Hello, sir.
That's Ron.
Roman.
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 That's Ron.
Ron. Ron, sorry. And Roman.
Ron and
Mr. Magoo.
Please, let's continue.
Sorry about that. Somebody wanted to take a picture, so I just took a picture.
More stairs.
It's a shame they got all that airflow for the white people. For the black ones, they got to be in that pitch black dungeon.
Is that
I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably wow.
They get all this air and the slaves get nothing.
Just a minute. This is the officers' mess. Dining hall for governor. A few officers. The floor down the 150 people suffering down there. So while we were down there suffering, there was enjoyment happening. We continue.
oh my God.
Feel the difference in this and the other room that they were tortured in, the heat, you know, just to give them some air.
diagrams we have here, they are the remains of the original cannon for fighting. They put all the in small cannonballs, they push them in and they fire here. The cannonball will leave and can travel 3 kilometers and it will hit the opponent ship. The bombs are planted inside. It will enter and it will sink. Please, we are all looking down. Where we have the trees, I think it can be better this way. Please come.
Our ancestors were suffering, they were up there getting air.
Moats full of seawater.
That's what I was asking, trying to ask Elvis.
Full of seawater. And the bridge in the chain there is a drawbridge. They will lift up so nobody can enter. When they pull up, water everywhere. That is security against outside attacks. I was saying that that bridge is a drawbridge. They lift up so nobody can enter. And these are full of seawater. Now please, that square diagram you have in front of the castle. Square diagram is a navigational compass for directions. The same diagram was used to calculate time. They put a pole at the middle. The shadow that was cast on the diagram was used to tell time. And it becomes a sundial. And please, after its jackal forms, they put soldiers there to watch over the castle. This place, jackal forms.
I'm sorry?
Could you take a picture here?
Yeah.
Where do you want to stand?
Everywhere, anywhere. They're worse than animals. They treat the animals better than they treat
Mind your steps.
our people.
Hey, John.
Just sick human beings. Just sick. You see people upright, walking with 2 hands. 2 legs, 2 feet, having civilization, and you treat them like that just because of the color of their skin. Sick.
Okay, so I was saying that the sea was closed but has gone back. Door of no return, it just down here. It just down here. Now please look at your right. You see what the black item is? See those 4 pillars? 1, 2, 3, 4. They are the remains of the wharf where big ships were anchoring. So smaller boats, you take the captains down here, you take them to the big ships over there. They arrange them in and up the left. Sea was closed but has gone back. Got a fishing harbor over there.
It's like no wind over here.
This is just a minute. I was saying that the sea was closed, but has gone backwards. The door of no return is just down here. Now please look at your right. See where the black item is? Come close here. At your right, where the black item is. See those 4 pillars? 1, 2, 3, 4. They are the remains of the wharf where big ships were anchored. So the smaller boats will take the
The
captive
canoes
down
were
here,
taken in
yes,
from here
to the bigger
and
ships.
returned right there. That's how close it was.
Please, we continue this way. Please, let's come.
Okay. More steps. I'm going slow.
We are here. Oh, great, 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 great.
Careful with those steps. Yeah. Careful with those steps.
I don't know if they're gonna know. Right, that's.
They should have heard him when he said. Bumped the head.
No. They put some scriptures up, huh?
They talking about scriptures while they raping and pillaging. Gonna put some scripture, talk about God.
You see why? That is ignorance.
Too emotional. I would have been the queen trying to blast. I'd be going down in history, jumping off the boat.
Hello, this is the Dutch Reformed Church, where the Dutch worship. There's a scripture up here. Psalm 142 verse 14. Zion is the resting place of the Lord, and the Lord lives here forever. But the floor down is a female slave dungeon. When the women were down there sleeping their toilet and suffering down there, that's a church service up here. The Dutch Reformed Church.
And they couldn't smell the stuff, I'm sure.
I am wondering how they could manage, because definitely some smell will come out.
Yeah, it had
I'm wondering how they
to.
managed it.
But you trying to be holier than thou. Made nice stairs for themselves.
So over there is the governor's bedroom. These are the living rooms, and that's a washroom for the governor in all governor's apartments. Yes. In those years, there were slave markets, like Saraga slave markets, Sampa slave market, and so on. In the year 2004, there was an archaeology research by a professor from the University of Ghana, by name Professor Peggy, at Sampa slave market. And she found one of the bones of the slave there, and this has been documented. Not long ago also, we had these two people, one by name Samuel Cass from New York, and another one by name Crystal from Jamaica. They died, and they brought their bodies to Ghana. They sent them to the Cape Coast Castle. They did some traditional rites for them. After that, they sent their bodies to the Asen Manson slave river. In those years, that was a river the captives had their last bath before they were brought to the castles. And they buried them by the river, showing that although they left, they had come back into their motherland. This history that we tell here, it's so plenty, over 400 years. That this very few minutes we spend here, we are not able to know all that happened. So most of them have been well documented in videos and books I'll show you very soon.
this all part of the building?
This is governor's apartments. Did you see the dining hall?
Yes.
The officers' mess.
Yes.
And what's this up in there?
You were looking at this trap door.
Yeah, when we came in, I said that's a
Trap door. But there's one up there, another one.
Yeah, there's a conference room where they did their meetings. Right, there's a craft shop. There's the documentaries. Everything indigenous slavery we was talking about. This great book, the lamentation from the ancestors. We have to tell our own history, written by Africans. It's also there's a video documentary of Elmia and Cables Slave Dungeon. It's a 2-hour documentary. I highly recommend that to you. Come on, look. Come here. No, please come in. He will talk to you. Yes. So, that's fine. Before we go, a quick wrap up. This is St. George's Castle, with the popular name Mina Castle. In the year 1482, the Portuguese built it. In the year 1637, the Dutch fought the Portuguese here and they took over the castle. And in 1872, the Dutch transferred the castle to the British. The Portuguese were here for 155 years. The Dutch were here for 235 years and the British 85 years. The castle is 541 years now. This tour that we did and all that I told you, it is to serve as a big lesson for all of us. In our own small way, we must make sure that this injustice will not happen again, although it is still happening in other forms. And I want to thank all of you very much for your cooperation, and I wish all of you the safest and the most peaceful journey back. So I will end the tour here. I am Matt. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you. You are an educator. I said you are an educator. We need that.